Dobra, możesz mnie zapraszać.
Mogę cię zapraszać, tak? No dajesz na mnie. Jesteś?
New agent has joined your team.
Okej.
Poradzimy?
Ale gdzie ty jesteś? Poradzimy sobie. Okej, tylko muszę wziąć misję jakąś. Tylko weź ten mikrofon do góry, bo będzie brzęczał. Zaraz tylko wezmę. Ej!
Tyle.
No weź go.
Gdzie ty poszłeś?
No dołącz do mnie, weź na mapę i dołącz. Okej. Masz snajperę? To z daleka bij ich.
Mam snajpera.
No to z daleka ich bij. Chowaj się. I ogień.
You're about there. The comms mast you're after is on a rooftop, big enough that you can't miss it. Keep a lookout for our JTF techs too. Where you find one, you might find the other.
Warning. Hostiles detected.
Mówiłem z daleka, a nie z bliska.
Wale krytyki od nic.
Gdzieś jest snajper, który mnie ładuje. Chodź mnie ulecz tu. Albo nie ruszaj się. Przytrzymaj F. F.
Dobra.
Division is down.
Get that fucker out of cover! They got Miko! Ain't got no...
Czekaj. Dobra.
Wali?
No.
Lepszy pistolet.
No czekaj, ale to nie wiem co to za misja jest w ogóle.
Aha, na 15.
To twoja?
Też nie wiem, co to jest za misja.
Chodź. Trzeba będzie powoli. Ty musisz być z tyłu. Musisz być z tyłu, w razie czego to będziesz mnie reanimował, dobra?
Co?
Bądź z tyłu, to ja się będę wycofywał, to będziesz mnie...
Nie słyszę cię.
Mówię, że bądź z tyłu, to będziesz mnie reanimował.
Tak.
Do mnie.
Poszedł do mnie. Do ciebie.
Możesz?
Możesz?
Już, moment.
Mówić?
Here we go. I ain't going down easy.
Poddaję się.
Poddaję się.
No to ja tak z tobą nie będę patrzył na ciebie, reanimował i to chłopie, to...
To ja...
Trzymałem się, co tam się podszedł do mnie i się...
A, witamy Grzegorz.
Okej,
Okej,
zyskujesz.
zespiję się w tobie.
Tak, we mnie się zrespiłeś.
Dobra.
We mnie się zrespiłeś, no ciekawe. Ty tutaj, o, chodź tu, chodź tutaj, chodź tu,
Gdzie?
tu, gdzie ja stoję.
Dobra. I właśnie mnie
Ty
tutaj
właśnie mnie
zabił.
tutaj zabił.
Hell was that? It's time to finish. Crap. We got him where we want him.
Tak, nie zabrałem
Zabił,
ludzi.
zabił.
Fuckers got him.
Have a taste of this.
Get out of my city.
Nearly got him.
Damn it, I'm out. Cover me. Get over there.
Yo, grenade in. Yeah.
Git.
Warning. Agent
No to
on your team.
gdzie miałeś być?
Tu byłem,
Byłem
tylko
po to
poszła
i
tam.
poszła tam.
No to nie wolno
Został
wychodzić.
Został
jeden.
jeden. Lol.
Jak ja padłem.
Jak ja padłem.
Dobra.
Dobra, żyję.
No ale Wiktor, nie możesz tak podchodzić, bo ja nie zdążę nic zrobić.
Nie ma.
Nie ma tam.
Szukaj z tej skrzynki.
Myślę, że... Mam skrzynek. Nie widzę.
Let's go. Say goodnight, pig. We own these fools.
Chowaj się tutaj, bo tu są żółci. Nawet nie wychodź.
No to właśnie...
Właśnie się schowałem.
He bit it. Blow him away. They got Mike. Force him out, these fools. These assholes are done for. Don't let out him go. Cover me. Force him out of hiding. This shit's nearly finished. Let's turn on the lights. You bastards gone dead. Force him out of cover.
Próbuję tam
Próbuję
wysadzić.
tam wysadzić.
They got Mike. I'll finish you all.
Nie ma?
Nie ma?
Oj, to mi klawiatura szwankuje, ja już nie mogę się nawet... Spacja, klawisze. Uciekaj stąd, do tyłu.
We're done. Get a black
Też lubię troszkę klawiaturę.
Nobody here's going back to your jails, pig. Blast them out. Here it goes. Get over there. Get him in the ball. Damn it, I'm out. Cover me. Won't be long now. There we go. Asshole's got him.
Zabił go, ziomka.
Blast them out.
Co ty nie powiesz?
It's gonna be over soon.
Czekaj, ja może zmienię sobie ten. No nie mogę teraz.
This is gonna be over soon. Shit, I have to reload. Here it goes. He's down. Got seconds to live. Get over there. He's shot.
Nie, Wiktor, nie wychodź tak za brązo ten, co ty robisz?
You'll never get me.
Gdzie on jest?
Gdzie on jest?
No nie wiem. Trzeba go znaleźć.
Czekaj,
Czekaj,
zeskanuję.
się skanuje.
No dawaj, masz impuls? Gdzieś ty poszedł? Dawaj tu do tyłu.
Mam impuls.
Dobra,
Za krótki mam.
Okej, widzę go.
Okej, widzę go.
no ja też.
Ale się
Ale się wziąłeś.
można schodzić.
Można schodzić.
Jednak nie.
Jednak nie.
Boję się.
Boję się. Ciekawe.
Uciekaj stamtąd.
Uciek.
No bo
Wyścig
mnie
to mnie
zmiażdżą.
zmiażdżą.
Dobrze.
Zdąży uciec.
Uciekłem.
Uciekłem.
Need more ammo. Give me a sec. Get him out of hiding. Have you right, people?
Jeszcze?
Jeszcze?
Nie wchodź tam, wychodź tam. Szybko, do góry. No chłopie, tylko oni cię zobaczą, oni wychodzą, a ja nie mogę nic zrobić.
Nie
No
wychodzą.
nie wychodzą.
Idziemy.
Ty idzie, nie chce się upewniać.
No nie, ten komplet mam ubrany, co trzeba. Szukaj sobie tu skrzynek.
Razem
Znalazłem dwa
itemki
itemki leżące.
I spy with my little eyes someone beginning with fucked. Yo, Righteous, we got some more uniforms on that turf. Whoever can hear this, whoever can see the flares, head to the rooftop. It's party time.
Jeszcze nie.
Tam?
Zjeżdżamy?
Tak. Zostań tu.
Warning. Hostiles incoming.
Co się dzieje?
Oni tam idą.
Oni tam idą.
Strzelają do mnie.
Strzelają do mnie.
Jednak dobry pomysł nie
Dobry
był.
pomysł nie był.
Tak
To
jest.
zostawiać.
Co za...
Dwie granaty.
Zeskocz na dół i cię nie trafią i chodź.
Dobra.
Dobra, zaskoczyłem.
Oni cię z ulicy zabijają, chodź.
Oh, you done fucked up now. They coming. Everyone's coming.
Take it from the other side. Gonna mess you up. Dead. You all dead. Ain't no prisoners. But wait, taking me so easy. Mercy. He's down. Say your prayers.
Masz mało HP.
To chyba ty miałeś być medykiem, a nie ja.
Jeszcze nie mam odblokowanego.
A to
A, to sam z ulicy.
You having fun with my boys? We got more coming.
Get these assholes! Push back!
No wchodź w to zielone, to dostaniesz HP więcej. Jak ja to rzucę.
Są?
Dawaj impuls.
Nie ma, są 3 trapy.
Uważaj na miny.
Zdetonowałem. Chodź.
Znalazłeś tam wszystko?
Co?
Miałeś poszukać sobie itemów. Nie masz tu nic?
Nie.
No to chodź.
O, mam
O,
to.
mam plecak.
No widzisz?
Nie mogę go otworzyć.
Zostań na dole.
Ok.
Finish him off and let's get moving.
Keep up the pressure. You got minutes to live, amigo. We're hurt today.
Get him in the ball. That's our chance. It's time to finish it. It's time to finish it. Focus your fire. Blast them out. I'm gonna rush.
He's shot. Get your ass in gear. Fuck these pigs up. Do something, man.
We got this. Get it
Let's
out of
kill
that
these
fuck
over here.
He's down. It's gonna be over
Jump
soon.
down over there. Let's kill these pigs.
He's dead. Can't keep hiding if we blast him.
Dobra, wyłaź młody.
Czekaj,
Muszę się przebrać.
Dobrze.
Lepsze.
Okay, what just lit up? Huh. Looks like a test dish, checking for signal strength. One of those engineers must have had a clue. Looks like he's running a triangulation. Overkill, but...
Bierz jakiś karabin szybkostrzelny teraz. Kałacha albo coś.
Nie, jeszcze nie mam.
A który masz level? Padło ci coś w ogóle?
Nie wypadło mi nic.
Ale ile levela ci wpadło?
15. 15.
No słyszę.
Oh, thank God. Thank you. Is everyone else dead?
Nie z pistoletem, karabin wejesz jakiś, maszynówkę, pistolet.
Mam
Mam tylko takie UMK 7.
No to wystarczy.
Hello? Hello, anyone copy? This is John Reese. Oh shit, what am I doing? We need to get out of here.
Chowaj się tu na górze.
Now.
Na górze się schowaj.
Reese, this is Paul Rhodes. We need that antenna patched and secured.
Nie tu, idź tam, tutaj jedź.
You copy?
Tu.
Yeah, I copy, but these people, the monsters.
Bo z wszystkich stron masz...
John, I need you to take a deep breath and find your balls. And when you find them, finish the fucking job.
Okay. Okay.
Ale twój mikrofon strasznie zbiera. Musimy to zrobić, żeby nie zbierał, tak.
Wiem.
Okay. This is easy.
Schowaj się tam, a nie
I got this.
tańczysz jak na balecie jakimś.
Warning. Hostiles incoming.
It looks like the odds are on our side now. We got this. Get that fucker out of cover. Finish him off and let's get moving. Better move it. Don't let up. We gotta come out sometime. This is over.
We got them where we want them.
Don't let him hide like that.
Let's get these fools.
Let's shed some light on the situation.
Jump down over there. Keep them off me.
To miałeś się schować, a nie...
Pochowam się.
Chowam się. Ile bije z pistoleta? Ponad 1000.
It's going pretty good, but if you can stop me from getting shot at, that...
Zaraz tu boss przyjdzie.
Co?
Zaraz tu boss przyjdzie, to trzeba będzie uciekać strasznie daleko. Tam skąd przyszliśmy.
Hostiles incoming.
I'm going in. Get that fucker out of cover. Finish him off and let's get moving. I'm going in. I'm gonna run. Keep fighting. Cover me. Get him in the bar. Asshole's got him. Give him what you got. Nobody here's going down. He's dead. Out of ammo. Cover me. I can't move. It's gonna be over soon. Keep shooting. Put on the
To coś tam strzelaj do nich.
Strzelam,
Strzelam,
koleś
koleś
mi
mi
podszedł
podszedł
i
i
go
go
zastrzelił.
zastrzelił.
You can't even fight.
1660
1660 jest head
plus
plus
pistolecik.
pistolecik.
Bij z UMP.
Ale UMP
Ale
bije
UMP
jest
bije
mało.
strasznie mało.
Oh shit, we're okay. Everything's okay. Not much more to do.
Znowu z tej samej strony będą szli.
Warning. Hostiles incoming.
Jest dwóch?
Jest dwóch?
A może i z dwóch.
Dwóch.
Z dwóch.
Take these idiots out. Can't keep hiding if we blast them.
Z jednej.
Nie, z jednej.
Take it from the other side. This is gonna be over soon. Blast them out.
Dwóch.
Z dwóch.
No. Keep firing. Don't show no mercy. You can't hide forever. Shit, I have to reload.
Rzucaj im granaty tam.
Dobra.
Dobra. Ajajaj.
I'm done. I'm done. Am I done?
That was a shitty thing for me to do to you. But now you're done, and we're patched in good here. There are no hostiles in your area, and we're sending a squad to pick you up. You alright?
Idę na
Idę
zebrać.
na dół zebrać.
Niebieski
Niebieski
pistolet.
pistolet.
Thanks.
Niebieskie
Niebieski
UMP i
UMP i
magazynek
magazynek do UMP.
No to zrób sobie to UMP, bo to trzeba czymś bić, młody, bo to ja widzisz, oni wychodzi ich 2 razy więcej niż jakbym sam szedł. Który masz?
A,
16.
Dobra, no to idziemy na następną. Tylko do bazy trzeba wrócić.
To my teleport. Coś mi do tego.
Tylko musisz, Wiktor, misję porobić. Coś jeszcze został.
No.
Dawaj.
już daj.
Już daję skana.
Nie ma nic.
Nie ma nigdzie.
A jest.
A jest! Są gdzieś blisko.
Na dole są.
Na dole są.
To jeden.
Czy jeden?
Bo ja mam strasznie mało HP i przez to mnie tak biją, wiesz?
Ja walę po
Ja walę po
3000
3000
headshot.
headshot.
Z Glocka.
Z Glocka.
Po 1000
Do
normalnie.
1000 normalnie w brzuch.
Znaczy w pancerz, nie w brzuch. Się cofnij, bo za chwilę padniesz.
Okej.
Okej,
To
już się
za-
cofam.
Ktoś dzwoni.
Ej,
Idź odbierz.
tam jest.
Tam jest.
Dobra, czekaj, dobra. Halo?
Ale ich rzęsisz. No to chyba tyle, dobra, teleportujemy się. Bo zacząłeś do nich przedtem i jak oni są na ulicy, to niech cię nie interesują. Po prostu idziesz za mną i spokojnie, wiesz? Pół godziny na taką misję to masakra.
That's calling your name. Look it over.
No gdzie ty jesteś?
To teleportujesz mnie, czy nie?
No to chodź.
Ale ja mam 1 kilometr przejść.
X-em chyba się teleportuje do gracza.
Okej.
I potwierdzasz chyba spacją tam później.
Przez X znalazłem sobie plecak.
Chodź, bo nie ma czasu.
Nie wiem, którędy.
No daj na mapę. mapa. Zaznacz pocztę.
Jeju,
Jak daleko?
jak daleko?
I X.
Szybka podróż.
No brawo, dziś. No siadaj i jedziemy z koksem.
Dobra, idę.
Dobra, idę. Jestem.
No, spoko, ładnie. No masz to UMP zrobione?
No,
No to wiesz, masz 2 bronie, możesz zaznaczyć, nie?
no to mam.
No to zrób tak UMP, żebyś coś bił z tego UMP.
Dobra.
Dobra.
W ogóle mam
mam lepszy UMP.
No i gotowy?
Robię dużo rzeczy. Patrz ile, że całą broń prawie oprócz skórki mam zrobioną.
Okej, chcesz skórkę sobie kupić?
No,
No chodź za mną.
gdzie jest?
A, bo ty nie masz, bo ty masz swoją pocztę, nie? No to musisz uzupełnić swoją pocztę.
Czekaj, bo
The lights are on, thanks to you.
No na poczcie nie będziesz mnie widział.
Haha, widzę cię.
Dobra, lecimy na następną misję, żeby coś dobić.
Pewnie już mi bije ponad 1000 z jednego strzała.
Co ty nie powiesz?
Bo tak ulepszyłem gloczka, że bije mi 2000 nawet jak nie trafię headshota.
No to chodź za mną.
No to idę tam do ciebie.
Heads up! Get off our turf! Get him! Here we go! Get him out of there, take it from the other side!
Listen up, Agent. You've got 3 objectives.
Okej, oni się biją.
One, shut down their
Tam się
comms.
biją. Dwa klany.
Knock out their tactical center.
And 3, take control of the on-site armory. Because I need those guns for my people. Now go to it.
Morning. Sentry turret.
Jeszcze jeden.
Jeszcze jeden tam
I've
jest.
seen those in action. They're nasty. Get in close before it recognizes you as hostile, or we're gonna need a sponge to mop you up.
Siedzisz tu na wieży i ściągasz ich ze snajpery.
Okej.
Piesiu, uciekł.
Uciekaj.
Zostaw psy, one ci nic nie zrobią.
Fire at will. Hostile spotted. Like we lost one.
To strzelasz coś do tych gości?
GPS says you're getting real close to that comm center.
Biłem
Careful
17.
they don't notice you before you want them to.
Chodź.
Ta wieżyczka nam nic nie zrobi?
Już nie.
Aha, ona ją się wyłącza?
Tak, tutaj kopasz. Musisz obkrążyć tira, wszystko i tu masz takie tam.
No takie. Ej, bo mi zmiażdżysz drzwiami.
Czy gdzie się ustawiasz?
The relay's
Gdzie?
gotta be on the roof. Probably gonna have some techie types up there to keep
I
it.
stoisz tutaj,
He's talking
okej?
about combat engineers. They're
Ty...
alert, well-trained.
Nie, no po coś strzelił do niego?
The LMB didn't cut corners on outfitting
Jak
their
ty
people.
Jak ty bijesz przez ścianę?
Jak przy ścianę? Teraz żeś dowalił. Ej, Wiktoro. Widzisz tą drabinę?
Tak.
Tak.
To wyłaź tam na górę i siedź tam grzecznie.
Już nie.
Już nie.
Boże.
Wyłażę.
Okej, wyszło.
Okej, wyszłem.
Wyszedłem, się mówi. I chowaj się tam.
Dostałem z góry od snajpera.
No to miałeś się schować.
To się schowałem.
Co się schowałem na ten snajper? Czy chodzisz? Bo ja ginę. Mało sekund. Ale ja jestem już... Tata, zginąłem.
Co zrobiłeś?
Zginąłem.
No to miałeś tam się schować.
No to się
No to się
schowałem.
schowałem.
No to jak się schowałeś, że cię tam snajper...
Rzucił mi granata.
O matko. No to czekaj, ich tu rozwalę.
Masz 3 sekundy. Dobra, już nie. Już zginąłem. O, odrodziłem się.
No to wiesz, gdzie
Dobra,
masz
idę
iść.
tam do ciebie. No. Czekaj.
Keep the pressure on them. Get down over here.
Morning. Agent on your team is down.
Zostaw.
Requires assistance.
Dawaj na górę.
Nie,
Nie.
weszedł tam
Weszedł
do mnie
tam
na
do mnie
początek i mnie
początek i
zabił.
mnie zabił.
Co za gość? Szybko, dawaj na górę.
Nie mogę.
Nie mogę.
No to się odrodź.
Nie mogę.
Giniesz.
Zginiesz.
Takim medykiem. Nie patrzysz, gdzie idziesz?
Koleś,
Szedłem tam na wieżyczkę, on mi podszedł przed...
O tutaj,
O
gdzie
tutaj,
teraz
gdzie teraz
będziesz.
będziesz.
O tutaj mi
O tutaj mi
Tu się ustawiasz. Tu, do ściany i stoisz grzecznie. I nawet nie oddychasz. Rozumiałeś?
Okej.
Najwyżej się wycofujesz, jakby tu weszli po schodach do tyłu całkiem.
Okej.
Let's check the
Na
Na
wieżyczkę?
wieżyczkę?
Let's find him. Let's find him.
Koleś maszeruje. Snajper. To szybko.
Let's find him.
Młody, nie skanuj, jak nie trzeba.
Let's find him.
Tu tylko siedzę.
No to siedź.
Okej, znalazł
Okej,
mnie.
znalazł mnie.
No to uciekaj.
Dobra.
Dobra. Fajnie.
Stałem.
Stałem przy i mnie zabił.
No to... A gdzie stałeś?
Na wieżyczce.
Na wieżyczce.
Zauważył
mnie i mnie zabił. Musisz tam wytrzymać trochę. Albo mnie zreanimować.
Let's go check it out. Eyes on the target.
Open fire. Now. Engaging.
Let's see whatever that was. Contact found! Engaging.
Ja się respię.
Firing now.
Dobra, jestem.
No okej. I stój tam przy drzwiach.
Okej.
Hold the line.
Dawaj teraz tak jak ja szedłem. Tam jest drabina. Na górę wychodź tam, gdzie ci mówiłem. Tam gdzie ci pokazałem, wychodź.
Okej.
Ale
Ale oni tu są.
Your weapons free.
To się schowaj. Oto masz te blachy, żeby się schować. Chowałeś się?
Tak, ale weszedł.
Ale wyszedł.
Agent on your team is
Nie
down.
dobijaj mnie.
Requires assistance.
No i mnie dobił.
Gdzieś ty wyszedł?
Poszłem
Tam gdzie ty.
Później mi
Później mi
wlazł
wlazł tam i mnie zabił.
Masz
Na
iść.
strzała.
Masz iść tam na tą drabinkę zaraz od drzwi, jak wychodzisz, rozumiesz?
Okej.
No. Bo tej misji to ja to przechodzę w 15 minut i koniec na trudnym.
Fire on the target.
A to z ulicy ładują. Zajmij się tymi z ulicy tam.
Okej, biorę snajpera.
Walę
Po 10 z klocków i zginąłem.
Ja im w ogóle
Ja im w ogóle nie
zadaję
zadaję obrażeń. Leżę.
Widzę.
Przyjdziesz? Nie poddaję się.
Ten
Ten z ulicy mnie zabił.
Dobra, idę.
Dobra, idę.
We got plenty of targets.
Remember to comply with all requests from last man battalion personnel. The life you saved could be your own.
Oni są tam na ulicy.
To zostaw ich i chodź.
Gdzie?
No tu do mnie.
A tam. Okej.
Już wyczyszczone wszystko. Pozbieraj sobie, sprawdź skrzynki, czy tu nie ma żadnej.
Nie ma.
No nie ma. Tak sobie kliknę i będzie mi szybciej. Nie ma.
No to chodź.
Nie ma. Czekaj, widzę narzędzia.
No to pozbieraj.
Okej, wziąłem. Tylko nie dla ciebie.
Co?
Dla ciebie były narzędzia.
Gdzie?
Schodzimy?
Chodź.
Chodź.
Help me search.
Tutaj gdzieś leżą.
Nie, to ja tu nic nie widzę, to nie dla mnie, tylko dla ciebie.
Hey, I need your help. Gonna see what's up. We gotta search the area. I better see what's up. Contact! I'll check it out. Inbound! Contact! Contact! Keep it tight. Gonna toss some frag! Let's go. Stop him now! Oh, shit! Ready to target, people! I'll check it out for myself. Don't let him I'll have a look. Start looking. Ready, all stand?
No idziesz młody na dół.
Jestem. Po ciebie.
No to siedź tam ładnie. Impuls. Sprawdzaj, czy nie ma nikogo.
Nie ma.
Nie ma.
Okej.
Czekaj, kliknę.
No chodź, już się nic nie zabije.
Okej.
Let's all sweep the area.
Ojej, przepraszam. No i co? Gdzieś tam się zapędził.
Okej.
No to idź, no to zobaczysz, co się będzie działo.
Jak tu zostaje?
Nie, chodź tutaj. Tu stój i mi pomagaj. Tylko jakiś pistolet maszynowy albo snajperka, z czego najwięcej bijesz.
To mam.
Chodź, to ci pokażę, ale tam się wycofasz, dobra?
No. Czekaj, bo muszę wyjść, bo się zablokowało.
No to chodź.
Aha,
pamiętam to. To idę tutaj, gdzie ty...
Chodź, tu są drzwi, może coś dostaniesz.
Włączyć?
Chodź tu na razie. Patrz, pokażę ci, chodź tutaj, pokażę ci, gdzie są drzwi.
No widzę.
No gdzie widzisz, jak cię nie ma? Tu się wypuszcza psa na wolność i szuka, czy nie ma skrzynek jakichś. Tu jest skrzynka. Widzisz ją?
Nam. Słyszę snajper dubel.
Tu może być chyba też druga, tylko nie pamiętam.
Chodź, piesiu.
Wiesz, gdzie masz później lecieć?
Gdzie?
No, pokazywałem ci. Dobra, wyłączaj ogień. Wyłączaj tamto. I nie wychylaj głowy. Okej? A jak się będzie robić gorąco, to uciekaj tam do tyłu, dobra? I nie z gloczka, nie z pistoletu, chłopie, do nich tutaj. Z pistoletem to może na kury iść. Nie ze snajperą. Dawaj tu MP. I ładujesz ile się da. Cały magazynek prujesz w głowę. Nic ci nie zrobi.
Jestem
Mówię, nie z gloczka!
Jak UMP nadal tyle samo wali. A gloczek 2000.
Patrz na prawo.
Ja tu biję tego żółtego, bo się schował tu.
Miałeś patrzeć na prawo.
To patrzę.
Gdzie? Chowaj się tam. Patrz czy przez drzwi, nikt nie idzie przez okna, są z twojej strony, dobra?
No, patrzę.
Idzie.
Masz impuls. Drzwi! Żebym się nie swajczył. Szybkie jest, ale ma obrażeń.
Bo musisz dać dobre lunety i wszystko, bo tak to co, nic nie zrobisz. Gdzie tam się pchasz, no? Dostaniesz kulkę i tylko z butów wylecisz. Ledwo możesz ujść z życiem, ja tu ledwo uchodzę przez ciebie z życiem, a ty się pchasz.
Zaraz impulsa odpalam. Muszę pójść trochę bliżej, żeby wszystkich złapało.
A po co mi impuls? Przecież ja ich widzę.
Ja nie widzę.
Akurat siedź sobie tam spokojnie. Widzisz, dodało ci czwartą kreskę życia. Coś ty tam rzucił?
granatę samo się przyczepiającego.
To go użyj.
Użyłem już.
No dobre to było, dobre.
No, rzucam im na twarz granata i... no.
I nic im to nie robi.
Odpaliłem go, masz czas. Co to było, tata?
Kulka moja. Dobra, idź tu zbieraj wszystko. Całą halę przeleć wokoło, czy nie ma jakiejś skrzynki.
Jeszcze jeden tam chyba jest.
Gdzie?
Tutaj
strasznie blisko są.
Nie ma nikogo. To pisze ci 50 ileś metrów od nas, nie? To za ścianą. Szukaj skrzynek.
No szukam.
O,
znalazłem.
Initiating data hardwipe. Overriding data.
It's time to find out if the last man battalion can take the heat.
Data has been overwritten. Overheating CPU. Disabling cooling mechanisms. Sequence complete. Server data replaced and CPU destroyed.
Już nic więcej nie ma.
No po co walisz monitor? Byś tak strzelał w gości. Cały magazynek. Do bólu, aż wyczerpiesz. Ładujesz. Full auto.
Okej.
I tak masz bić cały czas.
Okej.
Tu też szukaj skrzynek. Tylko nie wychodź po schodach. Masz impuls, to ci pokażę, nie?
No widzę właśnie jak tam ile ich tam.
Tu uważaj. Tu nawet tu. Tu ściana i stoisz. Stój tam przy schodach.
Koleś do mnie idzie.
Tu uciekaj na dół.
Polo mnie nie zauważył, a przeszłem koło kolesia. Cudem.
Lock them down, you hear me? Take position! Jacob's down!
Uchnąłem kolesia. A!
Dawaj tu do mnie, do drabiny. Do drabiny.
Idę szybko,
bo tam snajper jest.
Gdzie jest snajper?
Tam gdzie jestem, tam gdzie umarłem.
I tu na górę po drabinie. Szybko. Chowaj się. Snajper bije, żeby go nie było widać. To gdzieś się ustawił. Wiktor, chodź tutaj bądź cały czas, z tej strony. Tu, przy tym murku i skanuj ze snajperki, dobra?
Okej. Bum. 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 Nie ma.
Warning. Hostiles incoming.
Help up.
Ej, tata, fajnie
Fajnie
mnie
mnie ustawiłeś, bo tu jest snajper.
Got some good news. I've got backup moving on your position. They're past the first turret and moving fast.
Ten snajper?
Jestem. No. Przyszedł do mnie i mnie zaszczelił.
Tango's taking cover.
Dobra, jestem.
No czego nie uciekałeś?
Nie widziałam gościa.
No to ja... Wiktor, bo przez te rzeczy muszę leczyć i wszystko, to ja nie wyrabiam tutaj, to chłopie, to... I teraz od początku wszystko. Spadaj tam na górze.
A nie lepiej, no...
Na górę.
Hostiles incoming.
Żeby mnie nie zabił. Patrzcie, czy mnie wparuje ten snajper. Znów.
Ty nie patrz, gdzie miałeś stać.
Farował!
Gdzie miałeś stać?
Idę tam. Oni tu ciągle wchodzą.
Nikt nie będzie wchodził, nie bój się. Tylko się nie daj zabić.
Następny! Przyszedł! Snajper jest. Wiem, gdzie oni idą. Nie ma tak, ziomeczku.
Masz snajpera, zajmij się nim. Impuls i ładujesz.
Roger that. Your reinforcements just crossed the midpoint of the tunnel.
Gdzieś tam jest snajper po drugiej stronie.
No widzę, no to go zabij. Masz lunetę, masz wszystko.
Warning. Additional hostiles inbound.
No chodź. Wystaw głowę. Przyczepiłem na niej. Poszło.
Jeszcze abyś popatrzył na lewo, czy gość jakiś żółty nie wszedł mi na plecy i mi ładuje.
Idzie. Zabił mnie z dołu. Możesz mnie chyba.
Uciekaj stąd, bo tu jest drabinka tam pod mur.
Idę.
Pod mur, tam dalej, żeby tu nie było widać. Tam, gdzie byłeś.
A to ty mnie nie leczysz?
No jak cię mogę leczyć, żeby bili do mnie? I chowaj się.
Jestem.
Siedź przy ścianie.
No to siedzę, to mi dostają granatami. Impuls. Nie no, jedziemy.
Turet.
Turet.
Chowaj się, żebyś nie dostał w łeb.
Boże, tam jest ciągle wieżyczka. Jestem przy murku. Tam ciągle mi stoi wieżyczka i mnie nawala. Za boginę.
Tu do mnie chodź, tu.
Okej. Dobra, szybciej, szybciej. Uff, dobra. Snajper. Nadal jest tam ten turet. Papa. Mrugasz? Ty śmieciu mało tam. Niebieski item. Dwa nawet. Skąd? Ja tu ciągle stoję. Stamtąd, ziomeczku.
Ty mi młody rozwalasz normalnie. Nie dam rady grać. Normalnie mi się śmiać chce. Dobra, no ładuj do niego. Bierz wiatrówę i ładuj go tam.
Nic nie zabieram obrażeń. A walę mu same headshoty. O tym mówię. On mnie bierze na raz, a ja walę 3 headshoty i nie pada. Dostałem, o Boże.
Już leżysz? Siedź tam i nie ruszaj się.
Co mi dostałeś? O, resztę.
Tylko mi nie zgin tu.
Rebuilding Manhattan, one block at a time.
Easy pickings.
What the hell?
Any unauthorized personnel found in this neighborhood will be considered enemy combatants and will be dealt with accordingly. This has been
Nice
a
job,
public
agents.
safety announcement.
We're still doing the job, but the weapons you secured should keep the JTF in the for a long time.
That's how you do it. You just kick the leg out from under these LMB mooks. Keep it up and they're going
To
down.
moje itemy.
No okej.
The last man battalion and you.
Give me an inventory and
Rebuilding
all the ordnance we've got
Manhattan,
here and
one block
prioritize
at a
it for
time.
transport. Everyone else, sir. Yes, sir. It is secure. Roger that. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Remember, the last man battalion cannot guarantee your safety if you violate curfew. For your own protection, stay inside after dark.
Masz wszystko?
Mam fioletowy plecak. Lotną.
To fioletowy już możesz mieć?
No.
Tak?
Na 17.
Aha, czekaj, to sprawdzę.
Pis.
Nie mam nic na 17.
No, to szkoda. To ja modyfikuję broń. Nie mam jeszcze najgłówniejszych. Czekaj, tata, bo muszę coś zrobić. Modyfikuję plecak.
Czyli ile żeśmy leveli wbili? Bo nie wiem.
Ja mam już 18. Zaraz będę miał 19. Tak, gdzie jest? Jestem na mapie. Idziemy na respa.
Chodź tu.
Gdzie?
Do wyjścia, za radarem idź.
Dobra. Ja już tepam się do głównej bazy. To... SSS... Escape.
Thanks a lot for this.
No mam jakieś stalowe rękawice zielone.
No
18, to czekaj, zobaczę na swoje. Ja mam na 30 i na 19, to nie. Dużo, to ja muszę iść do sklepu, na serio. O, dzięki. To ja idę do sklepiku.
Weź sobie, żebyś, wiesz, jak najwięcej HP miał. Znaczy pancerza.
No właśnie. Aha, to się przechodzi.
No raczej nie jesteś duchem, musisz się wyspinać na siatkę, nie? Dobra, to lecimy do głównej bramy, nie?
Na respa. X. Ja pójdę sobie coś kupić, okej?
No to idź. Dobra, zrobiłem cię przywódcą, ja sobie zrobię tu na chwilę przerwę, nie? Idę sobie zapalić, nie? A ty kup tam, pozmieniaj i czekaj tu na mnie, dobra? Jak będziesz gotowy, to mów, dobra?
No ja już mam dużo więcej ludzi.
Kupuj.
Na HP.
Na HP.
Ale ja ci dam takie lepsze, tylko dobijemy 30.
A mogę sobie dać modę do plecaka?
A możesz sobie. Znaczy w sumie możesz tracić.
Nie no, ja bym sobie kupił lepszy ten... Czy mam dwupilotowe bronie? Mm, 9000.
Ty masz, kup sobie taką dobrą broń, taką kilka razy, że pistoletową. Kałacha ma. O, ile?
20. Starczy mi.
Tata, ja
wychodzę.
Ja za chwilę
wchodzę.
Bo chcę sobie
trochę pograć w inne gry.
No to ja tylko 2 minutki gramy dalej. Idzie Adrian, to jedziemy dalej.
To ja potrzebuję na Adriana, bo się
An
zagram.
agent is now leaving your team.
Bo teraz wyszedł. Czternasta 14. Myślałem, że to jest najwyższym levelem. Nie. No nie no jak? Zmieniam klasę tam tego gripa. Jezu. No jak? No szokuje.
Włączyłeś domofon?
Zabijesz mnie?
Ej, wyłączyłeś domofon, a jak ma się dostać do domu? Paniaczku. No to idziesz, myślisz, że nie idziesz?
No jak? Razem przyjdzie, to mi pomoże.
No to co, jedziemy czy nie jedziemy?
O! Jezu, 35 się zalogował.
Słyszysz?
Nie, no nie. O mnie.
Ej, Wiktor.
O,
No jedziemy czy nie?
czekam na mnie.
Czekamy na Adriana, tak? Okej.
Byłaś. Który to jest?
Rogue 2.0. Some people love it, some people hate it, and some people simply don't give a shit about it. So I've pretty much accepted the fact that no matter what I'm going to say in this video, I'm going to piss off a few people one way or another. But hey, when has that ever stopped me from doing anything? So, for today, I want to take a good look at the new Rogue 2.0 system and give my thoughts on it, the good and the bad, and see what we can potentially still change to improve the experience for everybody. Let's begin. I want to start off this video by talking about the friendly fire that has been disabled between players that are not Rogue. previously, of course, this wasn't the case. Non-rogue players could just as easily shoot other non-rogue agents, and this is actually how you would go rogue in the first place. Seems pretty self-explanatory, but this was actually the cause of a lot of annoying moments for a lot of people, because if you did as much as just throw a grenade at the wrong place at the wrong time, bam, you got hit by the 20-second timer. If you shot at a player or at an NPC and someone happened to be walking in front of you, bam, a 20-second timer. If you use seeker mines to kill some NPCs and then some guy walks close enough to the NPC to be hit by the explosion from the seeker mine as well, bam, another 20-second timer. So for plenty of good reasons, friendly fire has been disabled in patch 1.8, and players that are not rogue or not manhunt will not be able to damage each other at all. The way to go rogue now is to actually hold a button for a few seconds, which will then tag you with a 20-second timer on command. You can do this anytime that you want, and after you have the 20-second timer, only then you can start to shoot other players and do all the things that you could do in patch 1.7. Now, with these changes, a couple of things are happening to the game as a result. First up, when somebody goes rogue, it will give the players in the surrounding area some time to react to you going rogue. Simply shooting down somebody that's checking out his inventory, I mean, it's still going to happen, but it's not going to happen as often anymore, as anybody that's just paying a little bit of attention is going to notice that people went rogue before he gets shot down. It's a little bit of a gank protection system, so to speak. It gives players a second or two to see what's going on. Another thing that this changes is that the friendly fire feature also makes it a lot easier for multiple players that are not in a group together to work with each other against rogue players. You know, before they couldn't really do that because they weren't able to throw grenades, use area of effect skills, or just shoot in general without going accidental rogue themselves. But right now, with patch 1.8, with Rogue 2.0, players are not going to have to worry about that anymore. They can try to fight the rogues without the game mechanics working against them, and I believe that this makes the game a lot more enjoyable for a lot of players. I am, of course, also aware of the fact that this makes the rogue game a lot more difficult. Some part of the surprise element when going rogue will now go away because of this more announced version of going rogue with the button. And if multiple players and multiple teams are fighting against the same rogue team without having to worry about going rogue themselves, then they will be more inclined to spam grenades, spray bullets, and do things that they otherwise could not have gotten away with in patches prior to 1.8. And as such, a lot of people have cried out that this friendly fire feature needs to be removed, and that if it's not removed, it will turn the dark zone into a PvE zone with nobody going rogue, etc, etc, etc. But I think I'm gonna have to disagree here. As someone who plays PvP myself as well, I play a lot of Dark Zone, I actually think that Rogue 2.0 and disabling friendly fire is a step in the right direction. I've always thought that trying to flag people for accidental rogue by body blocking and stuff like that was a pretty cheap thing to do in the game. Sure, I do it myself as well, and I can even understand that you could go as far as calling this a strategy in certain situations. It is in the game, it's a feature, so why not use it? But regardless of that, I still didn't think it was a very good mechanic, and even to this day, I still believe it is kinda cheesy, to be honest with you. But I know where a lot of these concerns come from. They don't come from the 1v2 or the 3v4 type of fights with multiple solo players working together to take out a squad. No! Most of the concerns are coming from the 4v8 situations, the 4v10s or the 4v12s. You know, the manhunt versus the server situation, so to speak, where no matter how good the manhunt group is, they will just get overwhelmed with grenades, stray bullets, and all those area of effect skill abilities. And I agree that in those situations, it can become a pretty impossible task for the manhunt players to stay alive. I agree on that, but I also think that this is a good thing. I understand that people want to play PvP, but going rogue was always meant to be this risk versus reward mechanic. The reward factor has definitely been added with the rewards that you get for surviving manhunt, but that means that the risk factor also needs to be there. If you are rogue or manhunt, you should be at risk. I think that's the change that a lot of people are going to still have to wrap their heads around. You're not entitled to always survive a manhunt. Going rogue should be something that you have to think twice about, and shooting anybody on sight, it's not supposed to be a given anymore. If you go rogue in the middle of those 12 other players, well, that's a stupid decision, and you should get punished for that. Going rogue at the wrong times will get punished. Stupid decisions will get punished. And the fact that you cannot bait other players to go accidental rogue as well and turn the whole server into a mess, I think that's a good thing. It doesn't mean that you cannot be successful as a rogue agent in the dark zone anymore. It just means that you have to be smart about it. And I'd say that you'd also have to be more experienced at the game as before. Because yes, as I said, the rogue game has become harder. The whole manhunt game has become more difficult. So if you're not a good player, yeah, obviously you're just gonna get shot down. But organized teams, good players, they will still be able to pull through with enough practice. You just need to know when to go rogue and when not to go rogue. And some people are going to like this, and some people don't. I myself, I like this. Going rogue will be a bigger thing, hunting rogues will be a bigger thing. And while, yes, at the end of the day, this will result in less people going rogue because less people are going to be successful, I ultimately still think it's a good thing. Rogue shouldn't be the main source of PvP. If you just want to shoot at things and not be worried about any of that, then we have Last Stand, and we have Skirmish. If you're up for that big risk versus reward game, if you want to put yourself at a disadvantage to see how well you can do, then you can go to the dark zone and go rogue. All of that being said though, I still don't think that the current system is perfect. Not by a long shot. I like the disabled friendly fire between non-rogue players, and I like the announced rogue feature with the button presses, but the manhunt system and the way that you get rid of a manhunt, that still needs a lot of work, because a lot of times the manhunts are put into a situation that they simply cannot win. And I want to talk about that right now. Previously, you of course had your 5-minute timer, and as soon as your timer depleted, you were not a manhunt anymore. That's how it worked in patch 1.7 and how it worked before that. But right now in patch 1.8, as soon as you go manhunt, your timer will disappear, and the game will pick a random position on the map for you to go towards, where you have to channel this terminal to get rid of your manhunt status. It sounds pretty good, but the problem is that everybody else in the dark zone will also instantly get to see the location where the manhunts need to go to buy off their manhunt status. It doesn't show the exact location. You always get an area on the map where the terminal is, but these areas are the same areas as the last stand capture points with the same 3 nodes. So if you know the location, it could only be one of 3, and it also visually shows you which one it is, as the 2 nodes that the manhunts will not be using will be disabled. This means that if you go manhunt either by yourself or go manhunt as a group, and you find yourself outnumbered, which happens a lot of the times now with the friendly fire disabled, the other players, if they're smart, they can just run up to that one terminal as well and camp there for as long as they want. And then there's nothing that the manhunts can do to get rid of their status, and thus they will eventually die. When I was playing with a group of 3 or 4 players, we could always find ways to work around this by having one guy run up to the station and then the rest of the group trying to hold off the horde of players that are coming towards us. Or we ran to the other end of the dark zone as a 3-man group, and then one of the guys in our team sneaked up to the terminal on the other side of the map to buy it off, while the non-rogue players were too busy trying to kill us. It resulted in some pretty crazy and close moments where all of a sudden we were fighting and then, hey, our manhunt status is gone. But those things of course only work so many times. As soon as the other players in the game also understand the ins and the outs of the new manhunt system, then there isn't much that the manhunts can do. Unless the manhunts somehow manage to kill all the players in the surrounding area and then also have enough time to buy off the terminal. But even that's a stretch, because most of the terminals are located very close to the safe houses or checkpoints, so the dead players can just instantly respawn and then run back in. The timer to buy off a manhunt status is significantly reduced the smaller your group is. So if you're a solo player, you can buy it off much faster than a 4-man group, but still though, the moment somebody goes manhunt, everybody else on the server gets to see the location where the manhunt needs to buy it off. So in a lot of cases, if you have some experienced players on the server, and everybody is going to get experienced at some point, those non-rogue players, they could already be waiting at the terminal before the manhunts have arrived. And at that point, it just becomes impossible for the manhunts to ever get rid of their status. It's a guaranteed death sentence. So what I think needs to happen is that this buy-off point needs to change every so many minutes to a new random location, so that one and the same location cannot be camped indefinitely by the non-rogue agents, giving the manhunts basically no chance at survival. And in addition to that, when a new location spawns in for the manhunt players, it should also not instantly be visible for the whole server. Maybe put a 1 or a 2-minute timer on it, so that for those 1 or 2 minutes the manhunts know where they have to go to buy it off, but the other players, they don't. So the non-rogue players cannot camp at the buy-off terminal preemptively before the rogue agents have even arrived. I understand that with Rogue 2.0 we want to get away from the whole cat and mouse game where the rogues are just running and running and running, but you can't force 4 people in a position that is heavily disadvantageous to them to be played on the terms of the 12 others chasing them. When I went rogue on the 1.8 PTS, we fought the server, sure, but we didn't fight them all at the same time. We fought on our terms. We ran a bit, then we turned around, we killed a few. Then we ran a bit more, we turned around again, we killed a few. We only really looked for choke points and nice angles. And if we didn't have that, well, we just ran some more. That is the only way that manhunts are going to survive versus the server, so to speak. You cannot head-on take down 12 people. However, if these players on our server understood the Rogue 2.0 mechanics, they would not have chased us. They would not have just ran up to us and tried to kill us. Instead, what they could have done is just go to the buy-off point together, the buy-off point for our manhunt, and just wait there until we eventually wanted to buy it off. If they would have done that instead, then we would have been screwed either way. And of course, all of this counts double or triple or quadruple for the solo players, because of course, while their time to buy off a manhunt might be shorter, it's always way easier to get outnumbered and camped at these locations as well. So a built-in timer that every now and then changes the location of these buy-off points of these terminals, that would be a very good way to go in my opinion. It makes it more dynamic and prevents camping. That isn't all that I'm going to have to say though, because I would also like to see some adjustments made to the manhunt ranking itself. Currently we have Rogue rank up to 1 and then all the way up to 4, and then starts Manhunt with rank 0 all the way up to Manhunt rank 5, and you go up a Manhunt rank every time that you either cut a rope or kill a player, just as you would rank up the Rogue ranks. And this is nice, you know, we have some progression past the normal Manhunt, but I think that we're ranking up in Manhunt ranks way too fast. If you're Manhunt rank 5, that only amounts to about 10 kills worth of Manhunt progression. And while for a solo player getting that amount of kills is going to be a pretty difficult thing to achieve, for group players it would be really nice if there was any progression beyond that, because 10 kills, honestly, if you have an organized group, it's not a whole lot. I'm not saying get a Manhunt rank 6 or a Manhunt rank 7 or a Manhunt rank 8 or anything like that. I'm saying have the Manhunt ranks increase once every 3 or once every 5 kills, so that the Manhunt rank 5 is actually something that is really difficult to achieve. This would also make more sense when looking at the rewards that you get for surviving Manhunt. You get 1 Manhunt sealed cache for surviving rank 0 Manhunt. You get 2 Manhunt caches for surviving rank 1 Manhunt, and so on and on and on, all the way up to receiving 6 caches for surviving Manhunt rank 5. But to get to Manhunt rank 0, you will use 5 that often, only when you're up per manhunt level, but before the manhunts are actually level 5, they would have had to get a lot of kills already, and thus the extra damage doesn't come at play that often, only when you're up against a really good team. But yeah, that's that. Other than that, there are also 2 more things that I want to mention before ending the video. That offense per manhunt kill per manhunt rank, and then we're talking. A good side effect of this would also be that it lessens the impact of the 6-piece Banshee, you know, the extra damage per manhunt level. It's still gonna be that 5% per manhunt level, but before the manhunts are actually level 5, they would have had to get a lot of kills already, and thus the extra damage doesn't come at play that often, only when you're up against a really good team. But yeah, that's that. Other than that, there are also 2 more things that I want to mention before ending the video. With the first thing being is that you can actually go rogue by hitting someone that's in the down state. This will instantly give you rogue rank 1 with a 90-second timer, and this happens even if friendly fire is still disabled, so I'm not sure if this is intended or not. I can't see this being a way for people to go accidental rogue unless you literally press the wrong button, so I don't mind it being in the game, but I just wanted to mention it because, you know, it's the PTS and I don't know if it's intended. But anyway, the second thing that I also quickly wanted to show is that the new manhunt system is pretty open to possible boosting if you do it with a group. Basically what players can do is go manhunt and then have one group member leave the squad, and then after he left the squad, the other 3 players can buy off the manhunt and get the rewards. After they get the rewards, they can join back the one guy that is still manhunt because he left the group, and then the other 3 will automatically become manhunt as well. And after that, the one guy leaves again, they buy off the manhunt again, and they keep getting the rewards over and over and over again. To stop this, I would suggest not allowing somebody to join a group while he is on a manhunt. It's fine if they join while the player is still rogue, but just don't allow it when he's on a manhunt, so players cannot do this if they happen to be on a somewhat empty server at 4 AM in the middle of the night. improved. As I said at the start of the video, overall I think the changes are a step in the right direction. I actually really like the disabled friendly fire. I like the new Rogue 2.0 system. It just needs some tweaks here and there because at the moment it can really push the manhunts into a position that they simply cannot win. And I think it is fun when a game is difficult, when there's a huge risk and all that stuff, but it shouldn't be as impossible as that it is right now. As always though, I will see you guys later, or like they say in the Netherlands, zie je later. Patch 1.8 is about a month away from now, and before you ask guys, no, I do not know the exact date yet, but as I just said, my best guess is that it's about a month away from now. As you've all seen in my previous video, the update is going to bring a whole lot of new stuff to the table, new exotic weapons, new classified gear sets, etc, etc, etc. However, these things, they're not going to come for free. Technically, you know, they are going to be for free because the 1.8 update is for free, but as with any looter game out there, you're going to have to play and grind the game to get the items that you want. As such, if you're anything like me, you're going to want to get the best head start that you can possibly have. Go into patch 1.8 as prepared as possible, so that when the update drops, you're not stuck doing things that are holding back your progress that you easily could have done prior to the update. And that is what this video is going to be about. It's just going to be a few simple things that you can do to get ahead. So, what do you say? Let's begin. First and foremost, just as with patch 1.7, we're going to want to get those exotic caches. This time, not because we want to get a ninja bike backpack out of them, but for two other reasons. First up, the obvious one, the new exotic weapons. I'm just going to confirm this right here. Yes, you can get the new exotic weapons out of the exotic caches, even if you collected those exotic caches in patch 1.7. I tested this myself by farming some caches on the live server and then opened them all on the patch 1.8 PTS. As you can see right here, because I'm getting the big Alejandro and the Devil back to back out of these caches. Of course, you need to have a little bit of luck with this as well. You need to have some luck on your side. You could end up with 20 golden rhinos in a row if you have a bad day, but even if you have the worst luck and are not getting any of the new exotic weapons, it is still worth to collect these caches because they also give the player anywhere from 22 to 38 division tech when opening them. Division tech is really important to have in patch 1.8 because of the new optimization station. Most of you probably already know what this is, but for those that don't, it's basically a station just like the recalibration station, but instead of changing the stat rolls on your gear, changing what the gear is giving you, you can increase all the values on the gear, so you can really min-max, so to speak. But it's gonna cost you some credits in division tech, and for anybody that doesn't have 1,000 division tech stacked up, it's going to be quite expensive, especially if you want to get a god roll item. So, long story short, the more division tech you have going into patch 1.8, the better, and these exotic caches, they are a good source of division tech. Just make sure you open them after patch 1.8 drops. You can get these exotic caches by completing legendary missions or heroic incursions, so that is 7 that you can get a week because there's 4 incursions and 3 legendary missions. And, as some of you might also know, these rewards are not shared across characters, so if you have multiple characters that are all level 30, you could farm up to 28 of these caches a week. That being said though, I also know that a good part of the players watching this video, you know, you guys might not be able to do those too well. Maybe you just don't have a good team, or maybe you're simply coming back to the game and haven't really practiced these missions too much. If that's the case, then no worries guys, because I've also got some good alternatives for both getting exotics and getting division tech. It's not going to be as fast, but it's definitely going to be a lot easier and more manageable for everybody. So first up, exotics. You want to complete the weekly missions each week. You can see what they are by looking at the assignments on the map. One of them is always the same, it's getting a total of 20,000 points in survival, and the other one requires you to complete 10 missions and then do some other minor stuff, like killing 40 purple mobs in a dark zone or something like that. These weekly missions are also not shared across characters. You get 2 per week, so with 4 characters that is about 8 caches a week. These weekly caches also have the chance to give you the new exotic weapons when patch 1. So, over the past few days, I've been playing the public test server for patch 1.8 a bit. But you already know about that, because I made that video with all the new gear and all the new weapons, and I also streamed a bit yesterday. And while talking to everybody, either in-game, in the YouTube comment section, or to people on Twitch, I saw the same few comments coming back over and over and over again. And that is that a lot of people are worried about the new classified gear being way too powerful, and that we're going back to patch 1.1 type of strengths with all the gear and the player power. And today, I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about these things, because I can already see the shitstorm of complaints and videos coming. Nomad, too strong, Banshee, too strong, etc, etc, etc. And I don't really think that's fair or true, to be honest with you. And I wanted to give my perspective on all of this and how it will affect the game in the long term. So, the new classified gear sets, are they powerful? Yes, they are. They are very, very powerful in ways that we haven't really experienced in the Division for a long time. Are they game-breaking though, or too powerful, or in other words, overpowered? No, I don't really think so. You see, in my eyes, something that is overpowered in a video game is something that is a must-have, something that you almost cannot do without, if you don't want to put yourself at too big of a disadvantage. The Alejandro LMG on the PTS right now, that thing is overpowered, yes. Sentry in patch 1.1, that was overpowered as well as Smart Cover. The plus health rolls in patch 1.7, you could say that they were overpowered because you kinda had to have them or else you were really squishy. But when I look at any of these new gear set bonuses, any of the 6-piece builds out there, I don't think any of them are a must-have. I don't see any of them being too overpowered. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, but the player power in any game is relative to each other. All of these builds that you're seeing on patch 1.8, they're all very strong and powerful in their own unique and different way, and they all have ups and downs. No build is bad, and no build is far above and beyond all of them. They're just good in different situations. So to put it in easy terms, if everything is overpowered, then nothing is overpowered. That's really what I think about it. To, for example, say that we're going back to patch 1.1 with all this gear being ridiculously strong, it's as I said, I don't think it's really fair, nor is it really true. When I look back at patch 1.1, I'm seeing the old Striker, the old Sentry, and the old Tactician. With Striker giving you 50% critical hit damage on the 3-piece. With Sentry marking enemies so that they take up to 52% extra damage from the whole team. And with Tactician's Authority literally doubling your skill power, making all of your skills that much stronger. All of these gear sets in patch 1.1 pushed the player's stats so far up in every single direction that they could be considered overpowered. And they were overpowered, but when I then look at the classified gear sets in patch 1.8, I don't really see that. We have, for example, the classified Fire Crest, which gives you a very powerful fire turret and some utility, but that's really all that it does. We have the classified Reclaimer, which has an insanely strong support station, but that's really all that you have, a support station. The defense set, it gives you a really strong shield, but then you only have the shield. The Predator's Mark, it gives you a strong bleed effect, but it's only really a bleed effect. The Banshee, it gives you a lot more damage and higher rewards, but only when you're in the DZ and only when you're playing against rogue players and manhunt players. The Nomad, it has very high survivability, but then it lacks in damage or utility, and I can keep going and going and going, but I think that you're getting my point. All of these gear sets, they're strong, very strong, but they're only strong in 1 or 2 areas, and in my eyes, they all have very clear downsides as well. I don't see any of these gear sets being a must-have or something that you could call overpowered. But that doesn't mean that these classified gear sets will not have an impact on the game as a whole, because even though none of these gear sets are a must-have, these gear sets, they're going to change up the experience for everybody playing the game, whether you like it or not, especially when it comes down to PvP. You see, in the past, for the most parts, builds mattered a lot. Having a good build would put you ahead of someone without a good build. But it wasn't just a build that gave you an advantage, it was also a lot about player skill. If you, for example, went up against a player that had a build that was particularly good against yours, you would still be able to overcome that advantage that the other player had simply by being better. And with patch 1.8, that isn't going to go away completely, but it's definitely going to make the player skill matter a lot less. This is because of the way that the new classified gear sets are designed. As I just said, every gear set is really strong, but only in those 1 or 2 areas. A lot of builds are following the new Reclaimer trend, where you're putting all your eggs into one basket. Which means that playing against someone that simply hard counters everything that is good about your build, it's going to be a lot more common. Just to put a few examples on paper here, let's say that you are a Predator's Mark player and you have that insane amount of bleed damage. And then you fight against someone with a Reclaimer build. Now the Reclaimer of course has the immune station, so he cannot be tagged with that bleed effect, and most of your damage comes from that bleed, so you simply cannot out DPS the healing that the support station provides. In this case, the Predator's Mark player will lose, and the same would go for a Firecrest player. If you meet a Reclaimer, well, then you're pretty much done. But then some high burst all-out Striker DPS player comes around the corner, and the Reclaimer cannot kill him because the Striker has too much stamina and too much burst damage for the station to heal up. So then the Reclaimer player dies, but then the Striker player runs into a Nomad build. And the Nomad build is able to tank that high burst damage, so the Striker player doesn't have to sustain to fight a Nomad, and thus the Striker player dies. But wait, what's that? The Predator's Mark player just respawned, and the damage over time from the bleed can starve out the Nomad player, and thus the Nomad player dies. And it pretty much goes on and on and on. One build counters another. Now this is extremely simplified and maybe not 100% true. What I just told you guys are just some stupid examples that I literally just pulled out of my ass. I know that there are a lot more things going into just two people fighting each other. I'm not an idiot, but what I'm trying to say is that if you are a solo player or maybe play duos a lot, you could be the best player in the world. But no matter what you do, in patch 1.8 you're eventually going to meet some players that you simply cannot kill. Not because you're not good enough, but simply because his build is a straight up hard counter to yours, and there's nothing you're gonna be able to do about that. Unless, of course, you want to change your build after you die. That's the solution. For group players, this will also have a big effect on the game, because the game just became a lot more complicated and a lot deeper. For example, you can now combine builds together to boost each other's strengths and cover each other's